Hello guys, today we'll be talking about a particular event that I decided to talk about. Okay, I didn't really get to cover a near-death experience a lot on my proof of afterlife video, because a near-death experience can really be explored in its own topic, like pre-birth memories was. So a near-death experience is a phenomenon that usually happens when a when someone nearly dies. Okay, their heart stops working, and you might think, oh yeah, their heart stops working, their brain stops working. There should be nothing going on, essentially. Well, there is something going on. Near-death experiences are all vary based off personality. But the thing is, near-death experiences have a lot of commonalities. Here are the commonalities here. Okay, there's a tunnel, there's a light, there's a life review, there are dead relatives that you see, spiritual and other spiritual beings, essentially. All of these things are seen in your average NDE. Of course, and there's also heavenly realms, gardens, sometimes religious figures as well. You might even, and again, there's also negative NDEs. You also see some NDEs even report nothing, a pitch black void, or eternal oblivion, or hell-like area. Even as well. But again, all NDEs kind of do cater towards the person's personality and beliefs. So that's why NDEs are different but similar. That is the thing. If NDEs, and again, here is the whole thing of NDEs are hallucination. And if they were a hallucination of the dying brain, okay, they would be pointing images. Your brain would be probably pointing images like, that will try to comfort you the most. Again, for example, if someone is extremely materialistic, or is extremely, for example, I'll use the big argument thing. If it was a hallucination, then basically there would be let's say, for example, seeing like a video game character. You're very attached to a certain fictional character or someone, okay? But most people who have had near-death experiences say they're not hallucinations. They're not illusions made by the mind. And that is the thing here. If you talk to anybody who has a near-death experience, they can definitely tell from a hallucination and a non-hallucination easily. They can tell that this was real. This was a real experience. It was not fake. It was not imaginary. It was not illusion of the mind. This was a real experience as well. And again, if it was a hallucination, first of all, you probably won't be able to remember it because it's a hallucination. Sin. Another thing about near-death experiences is the out-of-body experience. I saved this one for later. An out-of-body experience, and a lot of people who had these out-of-body experiences, which is around 80% of NDEs, around 60 to 80% of NDEs report this out-of-body experience, suggesting that consciousness is more than dust, this body that we live in. And I think it's suggesting not just for humans, all animals as well. Okay? All animals as well. Well. And the scientists will try to tell you one thing. Oh, just because of a huge brain activity. Huge surgeon, the DMT argument. Okay, that's another argument they always make. Oh, it's just DMT making the near-death experiences. Okay, then how are people able to have near-death experiences up to 40 minutes and 30 to 40 minutes as of surviving death? If, for example, that documentary at Netflix, someone had an NDE for 30 minutes after they supposedly died. Again, they were brought back. not supposedly died. Sorry for my wording down. But after they died again, supposedly, because you don't actually die. It is thus a transition to another world. That's what I really mean by supposedly die. It seems that, again, science does not want to research this because it goes against the worldview. It goes against the materialist worldview that they have been pushing in schools for the past 100 years. So, it goes against the main worldview of materialism. Okay? But near-death experiences actually make perfect sense. Okay? What happens in near-death experiences? Because you have the law of compensation of energy. Okay? The law of compensation of energy. A lot of near-death experiences say it is exactly very much like the law of compensation of energy. Again, your life force or soul or spirit is preserved by the universe. The universe does not allow you, does not allow you to, cease to exist. That's what the universe is. The universe and the dimensions and all this other stuff, there. And if you really think about it, that's why the scientists don't want to talk about near-death experiences until very recently. It was just seen, oh yeah, there's a snow, it's just fake, and stuff. But now science is now finally starting to take near-death experiences more seriously. At least starting to take them more seriously. Again, a lot of people who have seriously studied near-death experiences, says over the lifetime, such as Dr. Bruce Grayson and Dr. Raymond Moody, they are absolutely convinced that near-death experiences are proof of the afterlife. Proof. Okay? And you also have cell death experiences. Cell death experiences are basically you, the dying persons, with another person, and they live to see this near-death experience. They live to see this near-death experiences. They see the life of you. They see the tunnel. They see all the commonalities. They see him going with the loved ones, but the other person stopped because they're not dead yet. Okay? And that is key. So there is something more than this physical reality that we live in. And again, atheists cannot fathom that. Okay? They don't understand that there's more than just this physical reality. But NDEs are only American. Well, on the site called endearth.org, you can find near-death experiences that range around the world. Korea, there's China, India, Iran, South Africa, Europe, Mexico, Brazil, Australia, all around the world. All around the world. Okay? And you're now having spiritual encounters with the same things. Okay, there's also NDE radio, and they discuss many countries, many people from all around the world who have had near-death experiences. It's not just an American thing. The only reason why America is the most publicized is because NDEs are completely old people. NDEs are no longer considered a taboo in America anymore. Well, people are willing to talk about them, and there are people who are willing to talk about these in America. But for example, in Africa, where the technology is less developed, or in third world countries, they don't really talk about near-death experiences. But in lots of countries all around the world, these same near-death experiences are all similar. Okay, yes, for example, in hunter-gatherer cultures, they don't really describe a tunnel because they don't know what a tunnel is. They describe it as a river of sorts. But it's still very, very similar. For example, Japan, they describe it as a river, for example. But these all are very, very similar. All near-death experiences are very, very similar. Yes, they are catered towards you. That's because you are you. Okay, that's why they cater towards you. That's why each one is different, but most of these are very, very similar. And then here's the big one. Why does only 20% of people see near-death experiences? Again, I think the reason why, there are multiple reasons why people can't remember. Number one is the Veil of Forgetfulness. Of course, we all know the big Veil of Forgetfulness. that makes you not remember uh, before you're born. Again, I already made a whole video about pre-birth memories explained essentially, and why they are not hallucinations. Essentially, we, we these of course are very similar to pre-birth memories as well. Which again, pre-birth memories have basically the same exact experiences, similar to near-death experiences as well. So both of these are very, very, very similar. So there is some type of world all creatures go to when they die. All creatures go to the same world. And again, if you look at the law of conversation of energy, see, once again, ceasing to exist breaks the rule of the law of conversation of energy. It does, because energy cannot die. There's no such thing as energy dying. Energy can never, ever die. And it never will die. And energy, so that means, yes, you are eternal. You are immortal. Okay. Yes, this physical body is not eternal, but you are immortal. You are already out an immortal being of energy. Okay? And again, when a lot of people describe this being of bright, light. Sometimes it's multiple colors, sometimes it's different, or sometimes it's, yeah. But it's still a being of bright, light. And again, when people try, and a lot of people call this God. Okay, truly, it's God. Okay, God source energy. Okay, so there is some type of God, and again, the God source energy can take any form it wants. Okay, because it's energy. Energy only changes form. If you think about it, energy only changes form as well. And then we have the eternal aspect of the NAE as well. Okay, I think I have to go back to the original thing. So, why, of course, see, some people don't have NDEs. So, the Veil of Forgetfulness is one. Number two is brain trauma. People don't realize, but brain trauma is a actual thing people have, because, of course, sometimes your brain is dead for like 10 to 20 minutes. You won't remember because your ego will block it. That's the third one. Your ego will block it. Again, if someone has DD and does not remember anything, is to do a regression or a similar type of spiritual experience to remember the NDE. I think everybody has them, but because the ego blocks it, because the ego blocks you from remembering your NDE, it is very, very simple. Okay, very, very simple. Your ego is the one blocking you from remembering your NDE. That's the thing. Your ego, your brain. When I'm talking about ego, I'm talking about your brain, essentially, the big, giant ball of flesh, because your brain does not want to accept anything more than just this reality, okay? And that is the second reason. And of course, the third reason why there's a lot of people who still don't want to discuss the different experiences because they're scared. They think they'll be looked at as crazy. They'll think they'll be looked at as weird. They'll think they'll be looked at as, insane, or that it goes against the religion that they believed in, because their family believes in a religion, or especially goes against the atheism that school and science teaches you. So it goes against the mainstream narrative that we are taught in school, that when you die it's the end, where it's most people who I have been looking at NDEs, spiritual things, and other things for the past year that can conclude that there is some type of existence after death. There is some type of existence, some type of reality that exists beyond death. And again, science already said there's like 11 total dimensions, at least. So why can't our energy, or soul, or spirit go into the other dimensions? It makes perfect sense. Sorry, Bill Nye and Stephen Hawking once again. Stephen Hawking is dead. I bet he probably figured out right away. There was also a video called, channeling Stephen Hawking. Well, basically Stephen Hawking was like, oh yeah, this is real. Because once someone dies, once something and someone dies, they'll be like, oh yeah, this is my true home. This is the spirit world, my true home. Okay, this order fifth dimension or spirit world, this other dimension which is my real home. They'll realize that right away, and all these scientists are going to wake up soon. Okay, most of these scientists are probably going to wake up. Especially the older scientists. This, again, that's what most scientists really say. So there. But the other thing, there are two groups of people who don't like NDEs. Scientist materialism, okay, which is the reason why scientist materialism refuses to study near-death experiences, okay, and of course we have the religious people, because it goes against all religion, okay. The closest religion it goes to is Buddhism, okay. That's the closest religion to the near-death experience as well. And again, and the next thing we'll discuss is reincarnation. Okay, a majority of people who had near-death experiences have a belief in reincarnation. It has grown. Okay, a lot of NDEs have had their increase in belief in reincarnation, and all become more spiritual and have a less of an interest in mainstream religion and have more of an interest of being a better person. And the one thing most people at NDEs have is the complete loss of fear of death. The complete and utter loss of fear of death, which has been holding humanity captive for years. Okay, once science realizes that this is the reality and not atheism and mainstream religion, I think that we're going to get onto a point here. Okay, we're going to be having spiritual science in the future. Okay, this reality is simply just an illusion that our souls create. This reality, this game reality, okay, this game reality or simulation that we create. We create this simulation, okay? We create this simulation. So yes, reality is a simulation created by us. We are the creators of reality, okay? There, okay? We are the creators of reality, okay? We are the ones who create reality, who, create reality, okay? Reality is our construct. That's why in the spirit world, there is no such thing as time, linear time. Of course, there's still time, but there's no such thing as linear time, okay? Because there's still much time must still pass in the spirit world, obviously. Time must still pass in the spirit world, but it's not like how it is here, like, oh yeah, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. It is essentially an eternal area, okay? Eternal area there as well. And you can see that most people who had near experiences become far more spiritual and much less materialistic. For example, one of the most famous people who had a near experience is even Alexander. He used to be an atheist. I think, he used to be an atheist who believed in the materialist philosophy. But he went into a coma and he visited the spirit world. Okay, he visited the spirit world. And I have heard of his story many, many times. Because there is and the one thing that people are scared of is the void. Okay, the void is one thing that people are very, very scared of. That was one of my biggest views, that death is just a black void. You're constant forever, and there's no heaven, nothing at all. And you basically, or they just cease to exist, or something like that. Okay, but the more you look at NDEs, the more you realize that, there's more than just this body. Okay, and again, atheists will try to deny all this all they want. They could deny that near-death experiences are true all they want, but to eventually come crawling to the rise eventually. Okay, and again, most people who become ghosts are usually atheists and people who get stuck to earth with possessions, which is why stuff like Annabelle exists, and why there are certain items that are cursed. That is because some spirits refuse to leave this planet, refuse to leave Earth and refuse to move on. Even though reincarnation exists, you can just come back for another incarnation, which makes it all the more dumbfounded with ghosts that they refuse to leave this planet, even though they'll probably be reincarnated in this planet in a new body, the essentially. And some people even went so far of going into the spirit world. They met a council of elders, which is very much present in a lot of pre-birth memories. They meet these council of elders as well. These council of elders. They also meet many spiritual beings. They also meet a lot of other beings as well on this planet. And I think that us as a race is coming very, very close to solving the secrets of the universe. Okay, again, Tesla described this like 100 years ago. Okay, he said the secrets of the universe is within vibrations. Okay, which he is correct. The secret of the universe is in vibrations, energy, and electricity. Okay, which also supports the plasma cosmology theory, which is an alternative to the Big Bang theory. But again, a lot of people who have been channeled by mediums and a lot of people who have NDEs actually support the plasma cosmology theory. They actually support it. Okay. There. Okay. So yes, the death of mainstream religion is coming. Okay. But atheism will not replace it. The Great Awakening will replace atheism and scientism. Okay, and of course, mainstream Abrahamic religion. I don't think, for example, Christianity, or the belief in Christ will go away, or the Islam. But a less judgmental forms of Islam and Christianity will exist. Okay, they'll become more in tune to Eastern religions, or more similar in Eastern religions, accepting stuff like reincarnation, accepting the fact that it's all about love, not judgment. Again, judgment is a human construct, and that God loves all people equally, and that all people are basically, there, okay, are basically playing these roles on the planet. It's like video game characters, essentially. And I still believe that there will still be mainstream religions, and there'll still probably be people out there that deny near-death experiences. There'll always, again, I don't think atheism is gonna die completely. There's always gonna be people who are going to argue with it and say it's not true, and that's all bullcrap made up by religion to trick people into believing in religion. There's always be those types of people. Again, there are people who still believe in flat Earth theory. So, where again, flat Earth theory has been debunked 2,000 years ago. So yes. So what have we learned? Another thing is near-death experiences. If you look at the thing called a soul contract, a near-death experience is already predetermined in your soul contract. You are planned to have a near-death experience in your soul contract anyways, if you even go down to Dell. So all the explanations that near-death experiences are produced by the brain, your soul chose to have this near-death experience to rediscover the spirit as well. And is there any alternatives to rediscovering the near-death experience or a lost near-death experience? Okay, a spiritual regression works very, very well. I think in the future there will be a regression to recover people who have lost near-death, don't remember the near-death experience, and instead just say there's nothing after death, blah blah blah. I was right, atheism is correct. Those types of people. I think there will be a type of regression available similar to passive regression and rise between rise regression or spiritual regression to remember the NDE, to remember the feeling of an NDE. Okay, another way to remember the NDE is very, very simple, is to use meditation as well. I think those will be two very, very easy ways that people will be able to remember NDEs. You won't need some kind of machine. You won't need some kind of machine. You already can, do that type of stuff, so you can remember this stuff. Okay, you can remember this kind of stuff. So yep, I do believe that NDEs are the complete truth. They are one pixel into the spirit world, one pixel into the afterlife, the true nature of reality. Next time, I'll be discussing dreams. What are dreams actually? Okay, and then I'll probably discuss today, if the dreams video is short, I'll probably discuss the true, is reality a illusion? Is reality a illusion? And is reality just a simulation by our minds? Our eternal minds? Is it just a simulation by God? Source, energy, the absolute, whatever you want to call it, and the alternative to mainstream religion you you talk about. So that's basically it about this video. Goodbye.